when I say we are live, so you just start blowing. We are live.
The broadcast is backstage. Yeah.
Yeah, so people, we are live. We are live on the Pan-African Daily. While you're connecting and sharing in, make sure that you're inviting one another to be on this conversation tonight. Tonight is the day where we celebrate the kings and queens. The kings and the queendoms are celebrating tonight. Yes. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. Tonight is the Queens and the Kings night when we celebrate our legends of honor, of integrity. Today is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s day. And we are shouting the trumpets from the mountains of Kilimanjaro to the pyramids from Kemet and say, this is the day where the kings and queens are arising, the grand rising of the people of Akebuland and its children at home and abroad. So you have seen the king on the continent is right here to address his citizens, her citizens worldwide on the importance of this wonderful day. And today, the Alkebulan calendar has shifted to one unique event, global event. And so we know January 16th of every month is Martin Luther King Day. And we also be going up to Magafuli Day, to all the Nkwame's Day, the Marcus Garvey Day, the Hartman Tubman's Day, the Queen Nzinga Day, the Joshua Maponga Day, the Professor Pielo Lumumba Day, the Professor James Small Day, the Dr. Susan Tatah Day. I mean, the past and the contemporary leader day. Yes. We are going. This is the new Africa that we're building, people. And I know some people are still waiting for this jingle. So let's just tell them. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Yebuye. Asante sana. Jambo, 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 jambo. Where are the people? Today is the King and the Queen's Day, and you can feel it. You can see the pyramids rising, and you can see the champions, the queendoms of Africa, and the kings are right here to celebrate this massive day, global day of our legend, our champion, our inspirator, our freedom fighter, our activist, our voice of the voiceless, who was intentionally assassinated and taken away from us physically, but spiritually, he is here and he will be here forever. And so, Al-Kebulan, arise, arise for the day of the celebration of the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is today. Over to you, my king. Over to you.
I just imagine if Nelson Mandela, Magufuli, Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther, Robert Mugabe, Robert Sobukwe were sitting in one room discussing Africa with Kagame, Mnangagwa, and other African presidents, Buhari, listening to the past, talking to the future. Tonight, let's celebrate that discussion that had our forefathers who gave birth to Pan-Africanism, to liberation theology, to repatriation ideologies, would be here today to celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday and death day or passing on day. What will they be saying? And Martin Luther King Jr., ironic that after 400 years of slavery, you'd call someone a king. You make him a slave. But after 400 years of slavery, you call him Martin Luther King. In a foreign land, and you identify him as a king. King of what? So the slave masters, I think at the death of Martin Luther, they discovered that they're not dealing with peasants, they're dealing with kings. Queens from Al-Qibla. I thank you.
Thank you so very much. I mean, I want to salute all of you that are watching from Zambia, and most of you are already naming some of the heroes that King Maponga is not mentioning, like you're talking about Thomas Sankara, you know, and I see the audience here actually joining you to say Walter Sisulu, and all
Julius
and all the
Kenneth
and
Kaunda,
Steve Kenneth Kaunda,
Savimbi,
Julius Nyerere, all of them. Yes, yes, yes. And we Queen Nzinga, yeah, Nefertiti, all of them, Ramses II. You see, as we begin to call and invoke the spirit of our ancestors, those that are present and those that are gone, we are celebrating, we are calling upon all of them to actually join us in this grand day. So please make sure you are naming all your Pan-African heroes. I see you drop Gaddafi, Gaddafi, all of you, make sure that you are dropping your heroes from wherever you are watching us. You have to send their names here because we're calling upon all of them. We're invoking them in this place. It is the place where queens and kings, the grand rising is taking place in this midst today. As we remember them, they are in our midst. So make sure you begin to drop their names. All the Pan-African heroes and kings and queens of pre-colonial Africa and even those of colonial Africa, please make sure you drop their names here. Azikiwe, you've forgotten? No. Thomas Mfunda, Julius Nyerere, all your heroes, drop their name in this place. Winnie Mandela's, Chris Hani, you see, Chris Hani, Lumumba, Robert Subukwe, he already said it. Imhotep, Maponga, Joshua. Some people are writing Imhotep. Yes, yes, yes. John Shilembwe. Make sure you are dropping the names of all your heroes, all your ancestors, those that have gone and those that are here. Make sure you're typing it in the box. Send them in the chat box, and we begin to call upon them, to invoke their spirits to be in this place. Yes. Okay. So, my king, today you said something that was very, very, and I also pondered upon it. I said, after you assassinate him, then you name him a king, and then you begin to celebrate all these national days. So it's worth celebrating. Like, It is done, and then we just realize. But when we look at Dr. Martin Luther King as a Baptist minister and all his mission, and you compare today's preachers and gospel leaders or Christian, do you think they can be the voice of the voiceless and speak against truth and injustice in their countries and their continent and the world?
The resilience of the African people is not measured only in terms of how they survive the system, but it is also measured in how they are able to interpret, translate the colonial system and make it relevant to their own status quo. You are looking at Martin Luther in the backdrop of Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, and all these patriarchs who are beginning to talk about liberation. And out of that conversation, Andy Diop and Professor Clark, who becomes the teacher of our brother James Small, who is with us now. And we actually have a connecting cable between the past and the present, leading us to the future. These people beginning to theologize around liberation, repatriation, reparation, restoration. The whole thing is, we are not what you're saying we are. We are something better than what you're saying. And this awakening of the African child gives birth to what now they call liberation theology, which is a mainstream theology in the Western schools of Europe and America, where they're discussing liberation. But when you look into the essence of liberation theology, what is liberation theology? Which Martin Luther Jr., King Jr., is named as one of the most profound progenitors and propagators of this theology. It is speaking. You took us here as slaves. We have discovered who we are. We have identified our history. We are not who you say we are. We belong over there. We have built up your economy. We want to go back home. So when you hear the Americans singing, way over yonder Jordan, Jordan is not, Jordan is the Atlantic Ocean. Child, I'm going to walk that milky white way. It's turning back home. So because they could not use the same words of Africa for colonial purposes. So the entire Negro spiritual narrative and spiritual songs are benchmarked in the American slave person desiring back home. I will go home and be with my Lord and be free. I will go home and be with my mother and be free. I will want to walk back and do this. And this is what I am in the past. This is what you have made me. But I want to return back to what I am. Martin Luther is this bridge between religion and Africa. Marcus Garvey is a bridge between America and the cultural connection to the African continent. Malcolm X is a bridge of the political conversation between here and there. Together with that, you begin to celebrate Angelu, our honorable lady, the poet, who is a bridge between motherhood and etc. So begin to look at the context of literature and literal analysis of the diaspora colonial literature in their reflection of their country of origin. You can begin to feel the sense of Marcus Garvey, Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson, Bunny Weller, Bob Marley, and all of them are singing this, the Rastafarian movement in the Caribbean, in the Jamaican. They all sound these songs and hymns of repatriation, repatriation, return the roots of Africa, going back. Bob Marley sings, liberate your minds from colonialism, liberate your minds from colonial oppression. You begin to hear Bunny Wailer, but the roots are the liberation of the people in slavery, repatriation, return back home. And Martin Luther, when he comes in as a preacher in the Baptist environment, saying that religion is not an end in itself. We have a home, we have a history, we have a background. How do we connect with our roots and etc.? And I think we want to celebrate Martin Luther not only in the religious space. I want to move him over to the cultural space, into the political space, and ultimately into the awakening space. How do Euro-American, Brazilians, Pan-African, Latin Americans, Africa, connect themselves to their authentic roots, which are on the African continent? I thank you.
Thank you so very much, my king. I mean, I'm just like, you know, I know most of you would have to go back to rewatch this broadcast because it is amazing. For the first time, we're just doing some questions and answers. Not we're giving you, the community, your homework, because up till now, most of us don't even know who our ancestors are, who our great leaders are. And I see you actually dropping it, everything in the chat. Like I say, continue to type in the chat who your heroes, who your historical role models and figures are. Because no education or lesser education was given to us on the continent, my king, about who these role models were, about their works. When we read about Dr. Martin Luther King, we just wrote about him as an African American pastor, you know, of the Baptist ministry. That's what I was saying. And in the political structure, they would call him a leader of the civil rights movement, And I'm very happy to announce this.
Dr. Susan Tatah, Dr. Susan Tatah.
Yes.
Slow
Dr.
down.
Tatah.
Dr.
No
Susan
more Susan,
Tatah.
no more slave name.
Yeah, Dr. Tatah. When you say the liberation hero of the civil rights movement, then I ask a question. You Americans, the white colonial Caucasian Americans, are you acting like civil people? Is slavery civil? Let's define what civil means. Being civilized, what does it mean? It means you stop acting like a barbarian. You stop taking my child from my womb and give to the crocodile. That's barbaric. You stop putting a chain on my neck and tell me I'm a less human being than you. That's barbaric. So civility speaks to human dignity. Then you speak the next word to that. You say civil rights. Who has rights? Who is entitled? Who is beneficiating from the reality of being alive? Because life goes with rights. So when you say civil, it means organized, acceptable, dignified. Rights, abilities to practice, be, realized, function, and express yourself within the ambit of it's my right. For 400 years, you deprive the Black African the dignity of being. Please write that word down. Being. Just to recognize me as being. When you fail to recognize that, you are not being civil. When you fail to see that the other person that is different from you is the same as you, you are not being civil. By the time you move to the civil rights, you who is in a position of advantage can you give the other person whom you deem less than yourself the rights to buy property, practice, vote, sit in the same bus with you? Blacks at the back of the bus, whites in the front. Are those rights? By the time we come to movement, this is not a short-term program. This is generational. Because the time it took us in Benin, in Senegal, in Congo, in Ghana, in Ivory Coast, you moved us. You moved us to Gorée Islands. And you moved us across the Atlantic. You moved us from Jamaica, Costa Rica, to Bahamas, to Haiti, to what the name of that place? Then something else stuck on my spirit. The Cuban Islands. You moved us to Curacao. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Curacao. You moved us into America. So when you say civil rights movement, even the definition of the title itself informs you that you are dealing with a living organism, Afrocentric livelihood, dispossessed, disenfranchised, enslaved, moved, and the desire to return, to restore, to think back, come back, becomes the culmination of the civil rights movement. So, and again, in conclusion, why must these rights be fought for if they are rights? Why must I fight to be called a Tatah when I am a Tatah? Unless, Mommy, you are not sure that I am a Tatah.
Yeah.
So when you talk about civil rights movements, why must we protest to be treated in a civilized way and then access our rights so that we can have movements? Oh, man, come on, doctor. If you can't hear me now, you won't hear me again in 1,000 years.
We hear you. We hear you, my king. Go ahead. Preach it. Just say
audience,
it.
they can't hear me now, they'll never hear me again. Why must we struggle and fight to be treated as civil and then protest and fight for our rights so that we can be able to move within the peripherals of our rights, because our rights are civil?
Ashe. Oof. Yes, Baba. Baba. Type all the names of your ancestors and your role models and your parents and your fathers, your mothers, your great grandmothers in the chat. I want to see that. And this exercise that we're doing, you're invoking the spirit of the greatest that have gone behind us, the spirits that have gone, and that we are calling them in this place to listen to the voice of the voiceless. Like Van Teller said, many are incarcerated. They are held incorporeal in prisons, in dungeons, just because they rose up like Martin Luther King to protest and to say what majority of us would not say. So we invoke the spirit of all our ancestors. And I see most of you are writing and typing your names, the names of your heroes, not just the heroes that you see. What about your mother, your father, your great grands? Those are your heroes. All of them, we're calling upon them, those spirits to arise in this moment where we recognize them, where we recognize and celebrate them. My King, I want to come to something when you talked about the spirituals, and it's something just done into my spirit when we said, I mean, when the spirituals were singing and they say, how can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land by the rivers of Babylon? How can we sing the Lord's song in the land, in the strange land? Oh my goodness.
There's a clip that Whitney Phibbs with Bill Gates did, which was explaining the song "Amazing Grace," how sweet, how it was formulated, and who was singing the Amazing Grace. The story goes on to say the slaves were in the basement of the Jesus boat. And by the way, the ship they were sitting on was called Jesus Christ, which was shipping slaves into Americas.
Correct.
At the bottom of the ship, and they did not have many steam engines, so the slaves had to oar themselves, push the oars toward their own slavery. Because if they had agreed in the basement that let's stop pushing this ship, most likely it would have never left. But literally, this black nation awed itself into slavery. And as we have it, African culture today, when we are working on what we call Zunde, Zunde is a day when people come to meet and work in the King's Field. And 100 people, 150 people, when we plow in rhythm, we sing together. So we put our plows together at the same time as we are moving, plowing the field. That rhythm is what makes us work together. And the slave master at the bottom of the ship, he hears this sound. Not a song of amazing grace. This is a song of pain. This is a song of power, survival, energy, consolidation, work, synergies, coherence, shared misery. But the man sitting on top of the deck, the Christian bigot, caught up in the slave marketplace, controlled by his religious inclinations, he translates our pain into theology. Amazing grace. How sweet that sound. How can it be sweet when we are at the bottom of the slave ship being moved away from our land into land? How can that be amazing grace? How can that be how sweet that sound? How can I be a wretch when you found me as a king? I once was lost. Lost where? It's you who is lost. You celebrate that you found a slave on the coast of Africa. You write a song. Thousands of people repent when they hear the song Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound. Are you repenting to the pain of the African people? How sweet is our bondage to you as a Caucasian? How do you turn my pain into your song of celebration? And the last verse says, when we been there
thousands years,
then
years.
the song we'll sing God's grace. We sing us. In other words, after you've colonized us for 10,000 years, we'll come back shining as the stars. What arrogance is that song telling you? That after I capture you and I keep you for 10,000 years, I'll send you back outshining the stars. Context is important to interpretation. Stop singing what you don't know. There's nothing amazing about this kind of grace.
Bayete. Bayete. Mm. And I remember in the choir how we wept when we sang, how you know, I cannot explain this vibration. I think all of us have been there, and we didn't even question. But what is the sin, or what is the wretch? Serve the wretch like me. What is the wretch? How have I become a wretch?
It's all to do with when I find you as an African, you are an animal. You are worthless. You are a wretch. A wretch is manure, is a scum, is dirt. I picked you up as dirt, as rubbish. Amazing grace that a white man walks and finds an African looking like a peasant, a goat, dumb animal. Amazing grace that I find wretched, torn into pieces. Like me, you have to admit that when a white man found you, you were a wretch. No, I was not a wretch. Look into the Abyssinian liberation. Look into Jaja monarchical systems. Look into the great Congo kingdom. Look into the Baganda. Look into the Kemetic knowledge system. Look into the great Zimbabwe. You tell me I'm a wretch? You tell me I'm a wretch? So that song for me, I want us to remember Martin Luther in the reflection of that song. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound. Listen to me with your spirit. That saved a wretch like me. I once was lost in civilization. Now I am found in colonization. I was lost, but now I'm found. What is it that the colonial Caucasian found that we must sing and celebrate it as amazing grace?
Whew. Ashe, Ashe, Bayete Baba. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. The Most High, the Most High, the Most High, the Most High, the Grand Rising, the children of Ntu are in this place. And it is so amazing as we're coming together. We gather as children of Ntu, worldwide, on the continent, in the diaspora. I must really agree that I think Dr. Martin Luther King, when he found out, do you even think that was his original name? Martin Luther King.
We're celebrating him without his name. We're celebrating him in a prophetic space. Even those that had colonized him failed to call him slave king. They called him Martin Luther King.
Doctor.
And for me, that carries 1,000 vibrations of reality, that when you take a coin, a gold coin, and you put it in a drum of oil, when you take it out of the drum, it is still the golden coin. You put it in a pot of mud, when you pull it out, it is still the golden coin. You leave it in the forest, someone comes to pick it up, it is still the golden coin. So the value of the Alkeblanites is not determined by where you place them. They are what they are, despite where you place them. Under the bridge, on top of the bridge, you can make them an Obama, you can make them a Michael Jackson, you can make them a Mike Tyson, you can make them a Jordan, or you can make them a Bolt, you can make them Marvin Gaye, you can make them an Oprah Winfrey, you can make them a Morgan Freeman, you can make them anything of what you think they are. Hell no, listen to me well. The golden coin does not become less because of where you place it. It remains what it is. And we see the celebration of the Tiger Woods. We see the acceleration of the palace. We see the glory of the athletics world, music world, film world, political world, to show that the gene pool of these people you thought were slaves are not of the quality which you thought prescribed them to be. They are far much more superior. It's just lack of opportunities. We have been to the moon together with you. We designed the computer programs to get there. We designed the machines to produce peanut butter for you. We designed the machineries to run the locomotives. Look around the entire American civilization and see how many black people, Alkebulan people, were directly involved in the inventions. From Jack Daniels, the most toxic of all liquor. Who manufactured it? Who designed it?
The most sweetest. Exactly.
The
And I went to
golden
that
coin.
manufacturing. Yes.
Dr. Tatah, the
I
golden
hear
coin.
you.
The
Yes.
golden coin does not lose its value because it is in the pockets of a thief.
Got you. Ashe.
I speak to our Kebulam in diaspora. Remember who you are. It doesn't matter where you are. Remember
Ashe.
who you are.
Baba. Yes, the great people of Alkebulan worldwide. It's a miracle that we're here. And we're going to do this for 1 week. Thank all of you for your donations. 3 donations, we're at 150 US dollar. Thank you so much. Remember to support us with your stickers. And do remember that 30% of the stickers go to our YouTube. We are thankful to be sharing and connecting. We are not greedy. Thank you, Baba, for this time. And I want to remind all of you the whole week is going to be MLK Day. So tomorrow, please welcome with me Baba James Small. And exactly, he wants to exactly polish these words again from the origins, from the continent, when you talk about how dare you describe him as a civil right movement, like he was the leader of that. And he's going to break this into pieces. So Baba Small is coming up tomorrow. Wednesday, Tagi Grant is coming up. All the team of Black Excellence is all about MLK Day because that represents Black excellence as we all arise. And I want to thank all of you for connecting and watching. Every time the King is here, we're going to get hundreds, why not thousands of people connecting and joining in. We appreciate you so much, Baba. Can you just give us the trumpet again before we go further? We need to hear the call of our ancestors. Keep typing them, keep invoking them, keep calling them here in this place. Keep typing their name, recognizing them. Recognize them. Whether your ancestors are your great grandmothers or your grandmothers or your mothers, hey, please, or the ones that fought and died, because of you, or those that are in prisons, in dungeons, because of they rose up for freedom and justice and truth and balance and power. Okay? Yes, yes, yes. This is the time.
I want to
Arise.
close. I want to close the session with a cry of pain, a cry of death, a cry of premature death, where the best amongst us are constantly killed. Gaddafi's, Lumumba's, Malcolm X's, Martin Luther. And there's someone in the background who is carrying out these tasks, generation after generation. But the boss is the same. And the boss says, these people must not celebrate themselves. You cannot allow this kind of mindset to infiltrate other minds. Remove him, because we want these slaves. Because if this one starts talking, we're going to lose our slaves. And without us noticing, every African leader has died in the hands of another African. We kill each other when we are used by the colonial system. I want to conclude by saying, Martin Luther is not dead.
Ashe.
He's alive as well.
Ashe.
Malcolm X is not dead. He's alive as well. Marcus Garvey
Ashe.
is not dead. He's alive and is well. Robert Mugabe
Bayete.
is not dead. Magufuli is not dead. Sankara Lumumba is not dead.
Booker T. Washington.
They are alive. And where? Gogo Angelu is not dead. She is.
Yes.
Nzinga is not. She's alive. Nafetiti is not dead. Sure, I feel something in my spirit moving.
Ooh.
Not dead.
Say it.
Say it. She is alive and well. Our royalty is not dead. We are alive.
Ashe.
And while we celebrate Martin Luther Day, I want us not to think of it as a Martin Luther Day. Let's rather call it a Martin Luther resurrection. His ideologies, imagine me, 16 years old, I'm at a university studying theology, and every Friday afternoon, I'm sitting with my friend Bekizulu Masuku. We're listening to videotapes by Charles Brooks, by who's the other one? Stafford, by Benjamin Reeves, and Charles Bradford, and Wright. And in the midst of our collection, boom, one afternoon, we're sitting around and we're listening to Martin Luther King Jr. Now I have a dream that one day a black man and a white man would walk together. Now I have a dream. I've seen the promised land. Though I will not get there with you, but and we are listening a 16-year-old. And I want to admit, Martin Luther had a direct impact on my life in terms of the eschatological emancipation, repatriation of the African nation, realizing, oh yeah, I started consuming this stuff as early as 1988, 89. I read Martin Luther, the bishop. I read through 80% of all his speeches. And in my growth as a preacher, I wanted to become Martin Luther. Yes, there's nothing wrong about saying that. But you know, those that have gone ahead of you. But I can say that the voice of conscience, the voice of the ancients, the pain of the diaspora, the agony of slavery, I heard it from the quakes of his voice. I will not get there with you. But one day, this dream will become a reality. And such statements sank into my spirit as a young person. And treating Martin Luther as an idol, as a trophy, but ideologically, I recognize the impact directly that he had on my life as a young theologian, moving into the space of Reformation theology and, of course, liberation theology. And when I heard his voice from diaspora, I could echo back and say, you are better off in diaspora, in slavery, because we who remained on mainland, we are in double slavery from our brothers and the colonialists that have remained here. So I started maybe on as early as the age of 17 and 18 years, starting to consolidate these concepts. I'm almost nearing 60 years old now, and Martin Luther has been a cardinal point of direction, a compass in my theological persuasion. What has theology made us to be? Are we better people than the colonialists found us? Are we worse off after they left us? And how are we using theology to liberate ourselves and our brothers to realize our economic and political liberation? I thank you.
Thank you very much, my king. No, you're not going. Please, 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 you're not going. One more. We have seen all the heroes and the list. It keeps going on. It keeps going on. We're not even going to conclude it today. We're going to continue. The whole week is MLK
No, we
Day.
must, but I take to your guys in the back office For tonight only,
Yes.
I want every hero that is listed here to be captured. We are going to come up with one big chart with all those heroes. I'll put it on my profile picture tomorrow. So tell your people in the back office to take every name and put it on a poster and then send it back to me, and we will celebrate every one of them. Every one of them.
Ashe.
I want to put my own uncle. Can I add my uncle?
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Josiah Magamba.
Josiah
Magamba.
I'm also adding my father, Josiah Magamba.
Magamba.
Yeah.
Tongogara.
Tongogara.
Ra.
Tongogara.
And I'll
Check
also
in
put,
the chat if I started.
I'll also put Chris Honey and Samora Machel. Those are
yes,
my.
Chris Honey, they're already in the chat a couple of times. I'm putting my father, Baba Babot, as one. Tatah.
Ashe.
Woo! Woo! Yes, yes, yes. Robbie Brown, I see. Pele, put all your ancestors right here, your great grands, because as we call upon them. We're invoking. These are the libations, like the king. King, what kind of ceremony is this one we call? When we call upon our departed, the spirit that left us physically, how do we do that into according to our traditions and our science?
And I think the best way to celebrate any hero is to understand their passion and see how you advance their mission in your present life. That's the best way. I will not be talking to you about libations, pouring water on the ground and whatever. Yes, that is more spiritual on the other end. But at a personal level, is understanding the hero. Who are they? What do they stand for? And if you can carry forward what they stood for. If Martin Luther impacted so many, you can impact so much more. So, and I think the best way to celebrate is to find the ethos of their passion and extend that into your life. Then you will be able to you'll be able to give them a lease of life beyond their lives. I wonder if that making sense. You will have been able to make them live after they're dead.
Perfect sense. Perfect sense, my king. Yes. Go ahead. Whew. What does the scripture tell you and me when you hear the sound of the trumpet?
Meet me
Good night,
there.
Baba. Meet me there. We meet you there. Thank you so much, Baba. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Bayete. Bayete.
So
Bayete. Maybe
on Sunday next week, our
yes.
program starts again.
Continues.
So put up a poster by tomorrow for our
Okay.
for our church program, whatever you want to call it, spiritual meeting for
Yes.
Sunday next week. Same time. I think let's do same time next week for
Same
our
time next week. Yes.
the gospel program. Yeah.
I share.
I
I
thank you.
share, Baba.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night. Peace and blessings. Woo, Bayete. Yes, the spirit is here. The collective spirit of the two people, of the Alkebulan children at home and abroad, is in this place. Can you smell it? Can you feel it? Can you feel the perfume in the air? So sweet. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Good night to all of you. Tomorrow we are going to welcome Baba Smalls. Baba Smalls is also going to give you a literally sequence of MLK. We call him Martin Luther King Jr. The whole week is going to be the day of Dr. Martin Luther King and all the ancestors that are joining in every space at home and abroad, those that are physical and those that have gone before us. It is the whole week to pay that respect to them. And as you go home, remember your loved ones that passed on. They are not gone, as you heard the king said. Whether they are your mother, they are your father, they are your brothers, they are your sister, they are your community leaders, they are your great-great-grand ancestors, or they are the universal ancestors that we're celebrating. Make sure you call and you remember them. Even if you are at your workplace right now, out in the diaspora, or you are on the continent about to go to bed, or you are hanging out somewhere, you don't have a sense of direction, whether forward, backwards, left or right, just remember that they are here. They have always been here and they never went anywhere. So I thank you for really supporting and dropping in the names. We're going to do a collection of them and we put them in the Pan-African Daily TV chat. Thank you so very much, all of you that have watched, and we see us tomorrow. We see us tomorrow. Peace and blessings and love to your families and everyone out there. Shout out to all of you, Please don't forget to become a member. Like I say, you need to only click on membership and choose your membership category. And every month, we appreciate you supporting us when we come live with your super chats and your donations. Thank you so very much. We have a lot ahead of us. February 4th is not far anymore as we see ourselves in Queens, in New York, at the Black Excellence with Happy. So yes, peace and blessings. Continue to be great, stay great, continue to harness the spirit of abundance and continue to share the energy. I want to thank Queen Nada that is joining us. Thank you so much, Sister Queen. Thanks a million for coming. I know you've been running around trying to put stuff together. You're a great champion, Queen. If we don't see you here, we know that you're here all the time in spirit. Thank you for smiling and showing your beautiful face and your teeth out there. We love you so, so much. All right, Synovia, thank you. I know you were driving and you were chatting. Synovia, we said don't do that again. When you can park somewhere and you connect. I know Pan-African Daily is your heart and everything, but please don't drive and chat. Okay. Thank you so very much. Ayoka Efwa, thank you. Kofi, thank you. Nkwame, thank you all of you. Thank you all of you. Thank you, the Global Africa family. Imhotep Heru, thank you so much, brother or sister. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really cannot actually call all your names because we have to go on, because I'll be going on another show tonight, okay? And I thank you for being here. Thank you so very much. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. I hate to go. I hate to go, but I have to go. Good night to all of us. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.
After centuries of misguidance caused by slavery, colonization, lack of awareness of our history, and institutional disinformation, a new Africa is on the move, determined and getting organized. Afrika tuko pamoja. Welcome to the United Kingdoms of Great Africa. The United Kingdoms of Great Africa is the credo of the alliance movement of all African intelligences around a common ideal, the unity and development of a strong, conquering and completely dedogmatized Africa through the channel of a strong organization called the Africa We Want Global.
You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want. Unity,